And the first thing I want to do is we got to talk about this young woman, and we got to talk about, Trump's been suspended. There's just so much going on. We'll just try to get through it. But this is the most important story. This is from WUSA 9. Woman shot inside U.S. Capitol building during riot dies from injuries. It is not known yet what exactly led to the shooting. A photo shows law enforcement with guns drawn inside the locked-down House chamber. They say D.C.'s Mayor Muriel Bowser and Police Chief Robert Conti III also confirmed that a person was shot inside the Capitol building but did not release much more details in the news conference at 5 p.m. The behavior we are witnessing is shameful, unpatriotic, and above all, it is unlawful. Anyone who engages in these activities, continues to engage in these activities, will be held accountable, said Bowser. A lockdown was in place Wednesday afternoon for the U.S. Capitol building, and it has been lifted, according to officials. But there's still a curfew, right? My understanding is there.
Started at 6 p.m., earliest one I can remember.
Yeah, curfew, earliest. 6 p.m. curfew. This is nuts.
On a weekday.
Yeah. They say U.S. Park Police, D.C. Police, and National Guard troops have worked to move Trump supporters and rioters gathered at the steps of the U.S. Capitol building to create a safety perimeter. Tear gas and percussion grenades have been deployed by police around the U.S. Capitol to move back rioters. It is not known yet what exactly led to the woman being shot, but a photo from CBS News' Zach Hudak shows law enforcement with guns drawn inside the House chamber around 2:46 p.m. after rioters broke into the U.S. Capitol building. U.S. Capitol Police ordered the Capitol locked down around 2:30 p.m. on Wednesday, and evacuations of two Capitol campus buildings, the Library of Congress, James Madison Memorial Building, and the Cannon House Office Building, as protests raged at the Capitol complex. Shortly after President Trump addressed his voters, vowing never to concede the election in a speech on the Ellipse, large crowds of pro-Trump protesters marched to the U.S. Capitol and squared off with Capitol Police. Protesters broke through several barriers placed at the steps of the Capitol while the certification of Electoral College votes began inside. And then, as many of you probably already know if you don't, they recessed the joint session of Congress. Joe Manchin said that these thugs will not stop us from counting the votes, and that they're planning on going back in as soon as the buildings are secure. There's blood on the ground. There's a woman who died, and they're going to go back in and they're going to finish.
In many places than one, there's blood. And my news team actually sent me the video of the shooting and before the shooting. And it looks like people just milling around. Now, of course, you don't see who shot. You don't see it in exact frame with this. Allegedly, now we're getting information, a 16-year-old girl that was there. But you hear the shot, and it's extremely graphic. And you see the life literally leave her eyes. So it's extremely intense. And right now on Twitter, there's many hashtags that are trending. One of them is white privilege. And a lot of people are saying, look how favorable these protesters were treated. Right now, protesters are actually engaged with conflicts with the police there. And a lot of left-leaning kind of thinkers in the mainstream media are saying, look, these protesters were treated favorably, but we have an unarmed 16-year-old girl shot and killed today. That's something something incredibly important, something that needs to be investigated, something that there needs to be justice behind, just like any death that leads to a police officer shooting something or doing something that leads to an end of a life, which is absolutely insane.
She was in the front, by the way.
No, she wasn't in the front.
She was standing like right at the door, and then she got hit and got knocked back onto the ground.
I didn't see that.
That's a video on Twitter. I'm
really
looking for it right now. I'm going to retweet it.
The video I saw, there's like one guy wearing a poofy jacket in the front, and one guy is like has hands up, and then he backs up against the wall. Then someone walks in front of the camera, and the woman is further back.
Okay, I don't know. For it
yeah, pull it up. But
all of Twitter about to become ACAB. Mm-hmm. You've been feeling it over the last few days anyway. Sentiment has definitely been turning. It's almost like an instantaneous network shift where the whole right network just was like all of a sudden blue lives, whatever.
Yeah, seriously.
Whatever. I push back on that on my Twitter. I mean, I support the police in D.C. They usually do a tremendous job under very, very difficult
Did you see the video of what happened today?
I did, but I don't have any other information. And I also, has anybody matched up a shot of the police from the outside and the people on the inside, like a picture?
Yeah.
I think we've seen pictures of guns drawn inside the chamber.
And there's video of the people on the other side of the door as well.
There's video of the other people pulling the trigger.
But nobody shot into the chamber.
I understand that. Yeah. They shot from inside the chamber into the
hallway?
hallway?
No one knows. The video is, you saw the video. People are milling about. and then you hear the shot.
Right, but where was
and then
that
you see the
door
woman
leading?
down.
That was my question. Is where's that door that they're
But
looking
one
at?
thing that's also
into the main
important-
chamber where the guys
Into the
have
main-
their guns
Yeah, okay,
pointed
so-
at the door.
so you
Now
think
there
it's
wasn't
those two?
there wasn't a rush, there wasn't a fight, there wasn't a conflict. It's literally people milling about like they were even in an elevator. So that's another thing to really.
Well, the
kind of
window was
consider
broken.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone broke the
of
window
course.
and then they barricaded the door.
It looked like there was a pause of action.
I want to say too, there's no confirmation yet that she was 16.
Yeah.
I've seen
This
some.
is according to the CPAC head
Right.
that just
There-
released this information.
And there are some high-profile blue-check individuals saying a 16-year-old girl died, but you know,
I think I saw Jack Posobiec, maybe somebody else, comparing the images from the officers with the guns drawn to the scene where the woman was shot, and like pointing out differences in the door, and that it wasn't the same door.
Really?
And that it might have been somewhere else. I can't confirm that. It's just something I saw in
thought it looked the
passing.
same.
Yeah.
Because some windows looked the same.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, though. You know, whenever it comes to big breaking stories like this, details come out, usually get corrected later on. And then people, I mean, it always happens, but then people might say, like, but hold on the day of, they reported this, that, and this. And then it changes. Like, well, we
in
don't.
this case, though, no relevant details are going to change except for the fact that the story will be MAGA fascists storm the Capitol, girl gets killed, attack police, insurrection, etc., etc.
Well, watching CNN before this broadcast, they were trying to kind of obfuscate that and make it not a big deal. They were more talking about, look, the members of Congress were terrified, and they were focusing it on that. And then they kind of mentioned in passing there was also a protester shot and killed. In other news, look how, and then it was just extremely eye-opening to see CNN, the network that just a few weeks ago was telling you on national television that protests are not supposed to be peaceful, literally lose their ish today talking about insurgencies, terrorists, and this extremely warfaric kind of language, trying to deem what they saw today as the worst possible thing in the world. Now, again, it wasn't nice. It wasn't good. Obviously, there was a lot of turmoil. Obviously, there was a lot of chaos. There's a lot of confusion. We're still finding out exactly what happened about this event. But this is the same network, again, during the summer when similar events were happening all throughout the country. They were supporting it and cheering it on.
Yeah, let me show you. Let's pull up this photo real quick. This is from, I just pulled it up on Google Images from today. And it says members of Congress being given gas masks. There are these like plastic bags you put over your head with a filtration system. I think one of the craziest things I have ever heard in my life. Tear gas fired in the rotunda.
Telling you, man, I mentioned mustard gas yesterday. I was kind of half joking, but it can get super extreme when chaos strikes.
Well, listen. When you fire tear gas indoors, people die. It displaces oxygen. I have seen people
catches on fire.
And when you're jammed together in a crowd, you're basically indoors.
Like in Waco.
Well, no, in crowds, the air clears quickly. People disperse.
If you can disperse. If you can't, though, it's a different story.
Sure, but
I don't know if you've ever been locked shoulder to shoulder, pressed, and you can't move. You're just being moved with the crowd.
So when I was in
Mardi
Turkey,
Gras.
During the Gezi Park protests, there's Istiklal, which is this big corridor of shopping markets. It's a big shopping street. It's amazing, really. And this is in Istanbul. And when they started firing tear gas like crazy, you can't go anywhere. You're in this corridor and you're trying to run out, and the gas doesn't dissipate because the buildings are all by your side. So that I get. But when you're inside a building, you know what we ended up seeing? People were running into parking garages, and then you're sealed in perfectly. When the tear gas went in, people just started dropping to the ground because they're not breathing air anymore. You're breathing in tear gas. You can't breathe. Once it gets in your lungs constrict. You struggle and hit the ground. And then people started running in with masks and pulling out bodies of unconscious people. When they said they tear gassed the rotunda, I was just like, dude, people are going to die. Now, I don't think anybody died from that. We did see some people get carried out, but somebody died from taking a bullet. Now here's the thing. Luke is wearing a very interesting T-shirt.
Well, I've been selling this T-shirt for about over a year now. I've been talking about this for I think I can't even understand how long I've been talking about this, but I've been talking about this hyper partisan, this sensationalism bullcrap that people call news. That again is just weaponized information meant so people fight each other. And now we're here at this crescendo, and I think this is only the beginning of a lot of more horrible things to come, in my opinion.
Definitely. Well, the shirt Luke is wearing it's the guy poking meme, and he says, "Come on, do a civil war," and it's the donkey and the elephant, and the guy is ABC, Fox, CBS, CNN. The reason why this is important, let me show you this from CNN. Trump caused this insurrection, and every Republican must condemn it. They're calling it an insurrection on TV. I hate when this happens.
Well, the former president, George W. Bush, also just released a very strong statement calling this an insurrection.
George W. Bush did.
Yes.
It's an insurrection. That's what CNN has said. Fox News is calling it a protest. After they cleared out the Capitol, people were still pushing. They were still fighting. Tear gas was still being deployed. And thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. So come back to check us out when we go live. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell. And we are also available on all podcast platforms for free if you want to listen to us there. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.